There we go. Okay, on my face. Welcome everyone to the Farside Business Builder on this Thursday afternoon. I am very excited about our speaker today. A wonderful Sharon Knowles is an accomplished cybersecurity expert with over 2 decades of professional experience. She doesn't have one, she has 2 master's degrees, including a Master of Management in Digital Business from the University of Witwatersrand and an Executive MBA from the University of Cape Town. Sharon exemplifies lifelong commitment to learning, and she has a wonderful understanding of the intricate relationship between technology, crime, and business in our ever-changing world. Sharon is not only a certified cybercrime investigator, but she is also a global traveler who has crossed borders and immersed herself in various cultures. And this international exposure has enriched her perspective and enables her to offer holistic and culturally aware insights into both aspiring mentees and visionary business owners around the subject of cyber management. So today we have an absolute privilege of tapping into a wealth of knowledge and experience, and I'm really excited, Sharon, to have you guide us through a very complex and dynamic realm of cybersecurity and phishing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Tamron, for the opportunity. Today, I'm going to share my love of phishing. It's one of those strange enigmas in the world of cybersecurity where it sounds so simple, but it can cripple an organization. So I'm going to explain a little bit about the world of phishing and then show you how it's done. So I'm going to start off by sharing my screen with you. And we talk about being digital citizens, and that is taking accountability for our own individual presence online. Being a good digital citizen ensures that we maintain our own accountability as well as the organization that we work for. So welcome to Phishing 101. So I would love if you scan the QR code and follow us on LinkedIn. We have our business group. We chat about all things cybersecurity, as well as post international articles around trends that are happening in the world, and as well as interesting stories that connect cybercrime to cybersecurity, because there are 2 different realms, obviously, but cybersecurity is evolving to match cybercrime. So the one thing that you are going to learn today is that you need to stop and smell the flowers. Phishing happens when we're too busy. It happens because we skim through our mails and we don't read our mails. We look for a few keywords and assume, okay, this mail is okay. It comes from someone I know. I'm expecting content from this person. And we just skim through and we click on a link. So today's objectives are to define phishing and identify some common methods used by scammers, recognize some red flags in phishing emails, messages, and even posts, and then look at developing critical skills to discern legitimate requests from potential phishing attempts. So let's start off by understanding what is phishing. So phishing is when someone tries to trick you into revealing personal information, like your password, your credit card numbers, IDs, or your PIN numbers. And it can happen through emails, text messages, or other online platforms. So the most latest, and we're calling it a form of malware, is social media, Facebook, where you have received a message from a friend, and they've started off the message by saying, hi. Now that message is automated, and it's more than likely a bot that sort of taps the account to see if there's any response. You get a hi from somebody you know, you respond saying hi back. They then know that the account is active and that you do use Messenger. They then send you a message. And the unique thing about this message that came through Messenger was that it was a lot of the messages people received were in Afrikaans. So they didn't think twice about responding and assisting the person asking for help. So you would have got a message from your friend in Afrikaans saying that they'd been locked out of their Facebook and they needed you to please send them the OTP that you received for them to access their Facebook, because what they had done is they have to identify a friend on Facebook. Now, this is all a legitimate process. Facebook does ask you when you get locked out to identify some of your friends. So you wouldn't have thought anything about it because, you know, what scammers are going to speak to you in Afrikaans. And if you have been locked out on Facebook, you know that this is something that they do ask you. The minute you send them that OTP, you've lost your profile. It takes seconds. And the thing with losing your logins to Facebook, usually your email and a telephone number, is there's no way for us to get it back. You know, the process is so fast and it multiplies so quickly that before you know it, you've lost your profile. Some people receive messages afterwards saying, you know, if you pay me a Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin or a quarter Bitcoin, we'll give you your profile back. The problem with getting phished like that is that you don't always get your profile back. So in a week, we received 25 phone calls from people who had lost their Facebook profiles. And there is no way for us to get it back. If we did have to attempt to try and get those profiles back because you've lost your email address and they've changed the phone number, it is a lengthy process and we would have to phish the scammer back. And there's no guarantee. So phishing takes place in many formats. I'm sure some of you have received the Indian call center calls where Microsoft is not working on your phone and they would like you to assist them, or you've received an SMS from maybe Nokia or Samsung that you've won a phone. And in South Africa, the big one was Omo. And I see there's one from Checkers going around. Also, if you receive a text saying that Omo's giving $1 million away, or they're giving 1,000 cell phones away, and when you look at the URL, which I'm going to show you a little bit later on, it is your first way to identify that this is a form of phishing. So the types of phishing that we get, we know email phishing, we know SMS phishing, where they send us a text, social media phishing, which I've just spoken about, Facebook getting the messages through Messenger. But you also have some other types of phishing. You have spear phishing, which is targeted phishing, where cyber criminals actually customize the message for specific individuals or organizations. So they know that you are usually the chief financial officer or the CEO, and you are their target. They will customize that message specifically for you. You have farming, which is where attackers manipulate your domain name settings and use malicious software to actually redirect your users to a fraudulent website. So what happens is people think they're actually landing on a genuine website, but they're not. They're landing on a phishing website. You have whaling, and whaling is also, it's targeting high profile individuals or very financially savvy people that have millions in the bank, and they are specific targets. Usually they look at executives of a business and they go after the financial person because that's the person who's actually in charge of maybe authorizing the transfer of money or paying vendor bills. So it's a very targeted campaign. When we look at phishing, this is our call centers that phone us and tell us they picked up a problem with your Microsoft license. They're going to assist you. They want you to log into your computer and they will tell you how to do it. You have clone phishing, where they actually duplicate legitimate emails and then insert a phishing URL or a phishing link. Credential phishing is where they trick you into revealing your login credentials. So if you've received a call from your bank and they've asked you, you know, they're going to direct you to a page, please can you put in your username and your password and then just send them the OTP. That is a form of credential phishing. Now, sometimes phishing and business email compromise are more or less the same thing, but this is the impersonation of business executives. So this would be me sending, or the new me sending an email to my chief financial officer saying, you know what, I'm actually stuck in Gauteng. I need this bill paid in for this vendor in the Western Cape. Can you just transfer, you know, the money immediately? That is business email compromise. And one of the most targeted industries currently is the legal industry and the estate industry. With the estate, it is a transfer of funds that need to go into the trust account. And if they've been monitoring these emails between the conveyancing attorney and the client, and they're able to compromise those emails, they're able to insert themselves and send a phishing email with a fraudulent link. And then malware-based phishing, these are mails that actually contain a piece of malware. And malware is a nightmare. So if you think that you've received a mail and there's a folder or an attachment for you to open, you click it. What happens is that your computer goes strange, but then goes back to normal. That piece of script is on your device. And it really takes an incredible amount of time to get it removed. And it is a very expensive process because we don't only use software to remove it, we use our ethical hackers to go through code, to look through code, to make sure that every piece of that script has been removed. It's like a bad virus. So what does phishing actually do on your device? So you've received the email, you've clicked on a link, and you've thought, okay, maybe I'm okay because nothing's happened. There are a couple of things that it does, that link or the piece of software, whatever it is that scammer or cyber criminal has put onto your computer. So a keylogger is a piece of software that mimics and records what you're typing. You open up your banking page, you type your username, you type your password, you put in your OTP. They're recording all of that. Sign into your social media, they can see everything, and they can actually see what you're typing. There is nothing that's hidden. It's you know, there's no little asterisks or stars or anything like that. You can see everything. Screen capture is where this piece of software on your computer actually takes screenshots. And what happens is, as you're logging in or as you're signing in, it takes screenshots of your documents, depending on where the software has been downloaded to. It can take over your computer. Data interception is if I'm sending an email that's not encrypted and it has confidential information. Let's say I'm perhaps sending business documents to my lawyer. My emails are not encrypted. This piece of software can actually redirect the mail to the cyber criminal before it gets to the lawyer. So my lawyer will still receive my mail, but the cyber criminal has a copy as well. Cookie theft is quite interesting. And it's become more dominant now because everybody, whatever website you go to, you accept the cookie. You know, it's POPI and GDPR and all these privacy concerns. You have to accept the cookies. But have you ever opened up the cookie notification and have a look at what you're accepting? So what they do is they put a piece of software into that. And when you open up your cookie sort of acceptance and you say accept all, you could be accepting a piece of malware onto your machine, or a piece of recording software, or a line of script that actually inserts itself into your cookie browser, into your cookie on your browser. And then good old Trojans. These are like viruses. They're programs that are actually designed to steal data and provide cyber criminals access to your computer. So we call them rats. When we were doing investigations and we were going after a target, this is what we try and do. We try and send them a rat, which is remote access Trojan. We try and send them a rat to the computer so that they can sign on it or click on it, and we disguise it very nicely so they don't think that, they don't know it's a phishing email, and that's how we get access to their computers. So it's all cloak and dagger, but phishing is one of the most crippling things that could happen to your organization, and people don't take it seriously yet. Data breaches, this is how it happens. So let's look at some of the red flags. And phishing emails have evolved a little bit. If you remember, you could read a phishing mail and you could see the language, you could see the information that was visible, you could see the grammar, you could see the spelling mistakes. The links were quite obvious that they were not good links. And then generic greetings, hello, my dear. I've just received one that said, hello, my dear, the good Lord provided me with your details. Hallelujah, I have R1,000,000, and I would like you to invest it for me because I'm traveling, and God knows that we will provide for each other because we're brothers and sisters. And I thought, yeah, definitely, I'm really going to click on your link. And then offers that are too good to be true. What has happened now with phishing, and when I show you the example a little bit later, you'll see how it's evolved, how phishing has now become so profitable that cyber criminals are taking the time to structure their emails, to structure their documents correctly, make sure everything is in place, that when the person receives it, it's quite difficult to actually see that it is a phishing email. So with the urgent and the threatening language, there's always a sense of urgency because they want you to click on that link. My dear, I've only got until tomorrow. I fear for my life, that type of thing. So they try to push you into the sense of urgency. Or this offer is only valid until tomorrow, even though a lot of salesmen do use the same sort of language. But there's always a sense of urgency. Suspicious sender information. I'm going to show you that also a little bit later on how to look for it. But take the time to have a look at the person who has sent you the information. When you click on a sender, it might say Sharon Knowles, but if you click on it, it'll show you the actual email address that it's coming from. And you can see actually, wow, that's, it's coming from Sharon, but this is, circus at the Red Zoo type thing. So take the time to have a look at who the sender is coming from. Look at the domain. Look at the extension of the domain. Anything that comes from an unknown domain, you don't want to click on any link in that email. And then obviously request for personal information. Please, could you send me your banking details? I'll make the deposit today. Please, could you assist me? I need an image. I need a copy of your ID book. Anything like that, where they're requesting a little bit more than what is usually requested. And it might seem relevant in the mail. Your bank might be sending you a letter saying we need to update records for Poppy. Please send me proof of address, and please send me a copy of your ID. And to make it sound a little bit more genuine, I'm actually going to ask you to make sure that it's signed by a commissioner. And then misspellings. Sometimes you do get where they've misspelled a word, where they've used Google Translate, just to refine the language, but it is not as common as what it used to be. And then suspicious links or attachments. There is a way that when you get a mail to actually have a look at that link without opening it. And I'm going to show you that as well. And take the time. So sometimes we can see when we do get mails, that this is a shady mail, and just right click, report it to junk. Just get rid of the email. Don't keep it. If you're not expecting a mail from Absa Bank because you don't bank at Absa Bank, delete the mail. And if you're using Outlook, you can right click, report it as junk. If you're using Google Suite, you can also report it as spam. Generic greetings. A lot of websites today use mail programs that have the ability to personalize emails. Your bank will never send you a mail, hello, sir, good day, sir, good day, madam, that type of thing. They will personalize the mail. So generic greetings are something, it's one of those flags that you can look out. And then also looking out for offers that are too good to be true. If you have an uncle that has died in Scotland and he's leaving you some hairy cows and $1 million, they will phone you. They will not send you an email. They will phone you to double check that you're the person that they're actually looking for. And you won't need to pay into a bank account that's not the same account as the lawyers. They will give you all those details, and there are processes that you can check. If you need to pay anything, the bank account will be in that attorney's name, and you can actually go and check online or phone the bank and confirm, but they will not send you an email if a rich uncle has left you money. And then some of the red flags, we have something what we call a script kiddie in cybersecurity. A script kiddie is sort of lowest on the low of the rung of hackers, of bad hackers, because what they do is they actually go and buy a script. And with that script, they then start phishing people. They don't only phish, they use it for all types of things, because if you go to the dark web, you can buy whatever you need. And with the example that I'm going to show you, this was most probably done by a script kiddie, because the content of the mail, what happened was that the top part of the mail was around a certain thing, and at the bottom of the mail, there was another sort of script in that. And when I analyzed the mail, I realized the person actually just forgot to delete the bottom part. So it was easy to track the mail back to actually see where it got sent from, who the internet service provider was, and report them. So there are also two sides of phishing. As a business owner, I don't want anybody sending any mails that are attempting to extort money from another person. That's one thing. And I don't want my business name dragged through the mud or even associated with any form of scam or email. We call it spoofing. I don't want my business name attached to that in any way. And then being the receiver of a phishing mail. So we're sort of going to split them a little bit, and we're going to talk about, well, what I do if people are saying to me, I'm getting mails from you that appear to be phishing mails. And then obviously I want you to consider those flags when you come across certain examples, the pop-up window when you're browsing a website that asks you for your information, and then any social media request. Even if you're going to win a prize, you have been left money, anything like that, just stop. Stop and think about it, and think about what they're offering before you actually respond to it or click on that pop-up. With people that have Macs, there used to be a very famous pop-up with called the Mac Cleaner. And the amount of people that still had that piece of software on their computers still today, where it's actually collecting information. If you go and have a look at what the software is sending back, you know, you'll actually be shocked. And that was a form of early phishing, just to collect data. So I'm going to show you about a mail that I received. I received this a couple of days ago, and it was a shipment notification. So I have a little shop on the sideline where I sell things, and I get the courier to pick it up and deliver it. So I get a lot of courier notifications. When I saw the email, I obviously noticed a couple of things. So I knew it was a phishing email already. So at the top, you can see here, the shipment notification. When I clicked on the sender, this is what opened. Okay. And if you look down at the bottom, it says it's coming from DHL. So that's the first thing I knew. Okay. That this is quite obvious. When I read through it, dear customer, okay, it's not personalized, and DHL, even though I know that they personalize emails, it's not something that you can say, okay, this is definitely a phishing mail because they've said dear customer. DHL is yellow. There's no branding or coloring on the mail. And I double checked the telephone number right there at the bottom, and it's not a valid number. I obviously tried to phone it just to make sure. And then there is where it says track and trace your shipments. That is where your phishing link is, in the middle of the mail. So if you right click on the link, but you don't actually click it, you just right click, you'll see that it'll open up a URL. So this is what it opened up. You can use a URL checker. There's two there that I've listed for you. And this is the results that came back. So that was the original URL, the https://cut. And then the redirected URL was the expanded page. And when you went onto that page, it actually looked like a DHL login page. So that is when well, obviously I knew it was a phishing email, but that is when I could see how they'd actually created the email. And when I went back to the actual email in my email box and I sort of scrolled upwards, I then saw the bottom portion of the mail, which was another type of phishing mail. So I realized, okay, you know, this would be somebody who hasn't done phishing emails before, because they're two different texts. And the bottom one was asking me for financial details to process a payment. And by checking your URLs, you can actually just know for yourself that it is in fact a phishing email. So I will send you those URLs. And the most important thing is actually not to click and open the link, but just to right click and it'll open and it'll show you, and you can go and retype into one of the URL checkers. And you can actually do this for any website that you go to, and any link that you get in your email. You can use these two websites to actually check if anything is, you know, shifty about the website. I must just tell you, if some of them have where they come up that they're not fishy at all, you still need to be careful, because these two URLs actually draw on information that is reported. Remember earlier we said report your phishing emails. what happens is people like Outlook, like Microsoft, sorry, like Google, like your antivirus vendors, they take all that information and they sort of put it in a big database. This is where these URL checkers actually pull their data from, one of the places. So if it hasn't been reported yet, it won't be on here. So you have to also exercise extreme caution. So when you report your phishing attempts, we do have a cyber hub in South Africa, but the best would be that when you get a phishing email is just to right click it and report it as junk or report it as spam to the service provider that you're using, your antivirus vendor. The thing with reporting it to the cyber hub here that we have in South Africa, that information is still, it is not sent through to anywhere. So they might have collected all this data, but it is not correlated in a single database and sent through to like antivirus vendors, that type of thing. And you want these guys to be aware of any phishing attempt or any link that's been out there. And people like Google and Bing and Yahoo, if a website is reported to them, they usually pick it up long before it's reported, but you know, then they actually remove that website and they take it down immediately. So report it. And then when we think about thinking about email critically, I mean, it's like, wow, that's actually a strange request to think critically about my email. But it's about taking the time to read your email and look at where the email is coming from, what it's asking of you. Too good to be true, too good to be true. Think before clicking on any links. These days, vendors do attempt to try and put as much information or to give you alternative options. Banks will never ask you for any personal information via emails, SMSs, or the phone. And if somebody's asking you for personal information, read the mail, see what it's about. I never supply personal information. Even if they say they're the bank, I never supply personal information. I tell them I'm not comfortable supplying it. And they give you a couple of other options where you can identify yourself and make sure that, well, for them to make sure that they're talking to the correct person. And then just by checking the sender, double clicking on the sender email field and actually opening up to see where it's coming from. And you'll see, if you go back into your email box and just going to have a look in your spam folder, and you just have a look at some of those senders, you will see sometimes that they do try to, let's say it's FMB. FMB own the domain name, fmb.co.za. They might put FMB orders or FMB check accounts. So they try and use the original domain, but put a little bit extra there. So you look at it quickly and you think, okay, it's FMB, and you click on that link. So remember when we spoke about there's two sides. There's the business side where you actually don't want your business to be involved in any types of phishing and that. So I'm going to show you a way for you to actually check and make sure that your organization is protected against this type of email spoofing. So we call it spoofing, and that is where you take, or somebody takes your domain name and sends an email out to maybe customers or to anybody, but they use your domain name. On the website, on our website, DaVinciForensics.co.za, if you type it in, you will get the full URL, the cybersecurity there as well. There's something in the top navigation bar and in the bottom navigation bar called Test Your Domain. And what you do is you just go and put your email in there. Okay. So here I put in my email account, Sharon at DaVinciForensics.com. And you push the little button and it scans the email address, the domain name, DaVinciForensics.com. And what it looks for, something called DKIM and DMARC. So those are keys that is attached in the back end of your site, and they're attached to your email to prevent spoofing. So spoofing and phishing tie in quite closely, and you want to make sure that your organization is secure. So Tamron will share the link with you. Go test your email. You need to be 5 out of 5. If you've got 5 out of 5, then your organization has set up your emails correctly and they've got these secure keys in place. And that means that people cannot use your domain name to send anything on your behalf. The next thing that I would like to show you is I'm actually going to stop sharing, and I'm going to show you how we create a phishing email. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a program. So I'm going to open up a program where we are going to use a piece of phishing software. And I'm actually going to create a campaign where I'm going to send a phishing email out. I'm going to show you how it's created. Now, if you can think, a cyber criminal has a more evolved version of this. As a cybersecurity professional, the way that we do it is we work with your IT team. We create a simulation campaign, and this is about teaching your staff. It's not about entrapping them, because you want them prepared. So this is our phishing back end. What we're going to do is we're going to start a new campaign, and we're going to put the test 2. We're going to do a simulation. We're going to use a test group. And for this presentation, I'm actually using myself, my own email address. And when we work with your IT team, there are certain things that we put into place, because we don't send a genuine malicious file, because obviously that would be detrimental to the organization. So this is just to teach your staff. And if they do click on the link, we then go back and share our training videos with them. So I think today, let's see what we can do. Let's not use, let's see if there's a LinkedIn one. Okay, let's do a LinkedIn connection request. Now, the thing about these phishing campaigns is that you can customize them. So you can put in logos, you can write your own emails, you can put in whatever you want. So typically, we do use some of the templates, but we also copy an original email and we duplicate that email, and then it's only the link that we change. So it is sometimes very difficult to detect a phishing email, and the only way you're going to do it is by looking at the sender and looking at what the content is asking you. So let's send a test campaign. It's been sent. I'm now going to have a look. I'm going to open up my email box. I'm just waiting for it to load. I'm going to show you. Okay, so we're going to go to my email box. Let's have a look there. There's an invitation. Please add me to your LinkedIn network. And there is our phishing email. So that looks pretty original. Tamron, can you actually see that email?
Yes, in the invitations that linked.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So if we look at where it's from, you'll see that there's actually a spelling mistake there. And if you looked at the domain name is incorrect. So when we're teaching staff, we do put in a couple of areas where they can actually look at and they can see where the mistakes are, you know, and teach themselves what to look for and how to pick it up. But if I see this, I think to myself, it actually looks genuine. That is a genuine LinkedIn footer. But if I had to click on accept, it would then go to a training page, a trainee LinkedIn page. So it would look like a genuine login for LinkedIn. And that's when we would then have the conversation with the staff member and teach them how to become more secure. So the thing with phishing is that it is so easy to get caught up because, you know, we're busy. We're all busy. You know, we get an email on our phone or we get an email on the computer. We skim. We think we know who it's from because we haven't looked at everything. So what I'm saying today, I think, is take the time, take a step back, be like my kitty cat smelling the rose, and just look at that mail that you're receiving, because this phishing emails can lead to a breach in your organization, because it only takes one staff member to click on a link that can compromise your entire organization. So if you have a shame, we're picking on the financial guys, but let's say you've got a bookkeeper that saves her Excel spreadsheets in a cloud environment. She's clicked on a link. She doesn't know that she's clicked on a link because the machine did go strange, but you know, everything went back to normal. She's put that piece of software into the cloud. Tamron's going to go and check on it to make sure she's done all her work correctly. And Tamron's device is infected because she opens up that spreadsheet and then she decides she's going to send it to, let's say, the tax consultant. He needs to have a look at, and that's how it spreads. So it is very important to just take a step back and have a look at the type of emails you get. And, you know, cyber criminals are really quite clever because they look at specific time frames. So we've got it's SARS season. So, you know, you get lots of SARS emails. We've got Black Friday coming up. We've got Cyber Monday coming up. And people take advantage of those and send offers that sometimes look incredible, you know. And sometimes I find myself when I get these PlayStation 5 emails that I have to just stop, breathe, and have a look, because there is no ways I'm getting a PlayStation 5 for 2,000 Rand, you know. So it's all about just reading and making sure that you feel comfortable with the mail and what you're actually opening up. Look at the links, check the links online, and make sure that those links are that actually come from the organization. And when in doubt, you can either phone your bank or you can phone the vendor. I know it does seem extreme, but you need to do what's comfortable for yourself. I love the delete button. If I don't know the person, I delete. If I don't know the vendor, I delete. If it is somebody looking for you urgently, they're going to call. But you need to find something that's suitable for all of you. So I just want to spend some couple of minutes. If there are any questions or anybody wants to ask anything.
I have a question. So I want to know, what do I do if I click on something? Like, I'm very careful. I think I'm quite non-fishy, but what do you actually do if you've done that by accident?
The first thing is to disconnect from the internet and then to run your antivirus and scan your machine, make sure that your antivirus doesn't pick up anything. And if you click on a link and it's taken you to, it's actually taken you to nothing. It's opened up a page that has sort of nonsense written all over it. That is usually a sign that they put a script on your computer. Most antiviruses will pick up a malicious file. And then you have some free software called Malwarebytes that you can just download and scan your machine. They're pretty good. And if still nothing has been picked up, you should be okay. But Robin, if I was you, I would always just pick up the phone and make a call and we double check. The thing is, it's very difficult to tell unless you've, really made sure that you've checked every sort of single file where they actually download the script to. And usually it's what's known as executable piece of script, which means if they've sent you a PDF, and you've opened that PDF, it'll most probably run the software. So, having a good antivirus, making sure you do your updates from Windows when it tells you to do your updates, your cookies and that, just to clear them every now and then. Make sure you've got strong passwords, especially if you have a password manager or, even if you use Google passwords, they've really updated their password manager, but have a strong password. Use two-factor authentication where you've actually got an authenticator app that, even though it takes you maybe an extra minute or so to put in an OTP that you get from your phone, it's worth doing it in the long run because, you can just imagine losing all your data or compromising your customers' data, that type of thing.
Thanks, Sharon.
Do we have any other questions there?
There's none in the chat, Sharon. I must say, I found that absolutely fascinating. Thank you. That was amazing. I think just the wealth of information makes it almost hard to ask a question because I'm not sure where to start. But that was amazing. That the great summary of the phishing attacks and what to look out for and that sort of thing. I think I suppose. Yeah, my question is more along the lines of how do you offer some form of, I mean, you've already spoken about staff training. So how could we make sure that our staff are not going to do, they don't necessarily know what we've learned today, and I don't have the time to share it with them. So is there some form of training that we can send them on? Is there something we can do to make sure that our whole organization gets this knowledge?
So the campaign, the simulation program that I showed you, we do that for organizations. So what we do is we run the simulation campaign and we see where your baseline is with your staff. And then we start teaching them. Because the big thing around human element in any organization is you're not there to entrap them. You're there to give them tools that can equip them to understand and see where potential phishing email is, because a lot of people have their private emails on their work devices. So, you do all of this preparation and you train them. They also become more aware in their personal emails because you know what, you don't want to have all your security in place and they go and open up a Gmail on their work computer and click on a link there because then the device is compromised anyway. So the simulation campaign, we start at one point and we work through different types of campaign and we customize the training. So if staff member A keeps clicking on bank links, we teach her or him around what to look for specifically with the bank links. And they can sign into their training anytime and familiarize themselves with everything to do with bank phishing mails. So, you know, that's rather simplifying it a bit, but it's a way of understanding where the shortages or the gaps are with your staff, because phishing is growing. You can pick up a phishing script off the dark web for about $2. And, you know, if I compromise, let's say I send a phishing mail to you, Tamarin, and you click on a link, you realize it's a phishing mail, you clean it, you try and get it removed off your computer, but that link has already grabbed your address book and it's already sent it out. And you send mail to me and you send mail to Robin, and you know, we don't realize it and we click on the link. It's a way of spreading it. So I always say, let's be proactive and teach our staff and teach ourselves how to be more aware.
Yeah, I see Moira said in the chat box, awareness is key. And she's right. And she says, great presentation. So well done.
Thank you, Moira.
Yeah. I don't think there's any other questions, Sharon.
Okay, and if anybody wants to reach out with a question that they might have, or they felt too shy, or they just want to ask something, they're very welcome to do so.
I have put Sharon's contact details in the chat, so yeah, please reach out to her. I'm also sharing 2 sets of information that you can find on her website. There's some articles about phishing and there's some information about the training. I think if you are worried about your business at any point in time, then reach out. Sharon can not just help you with training, she can also help you with cleaning up your computer afterwards. So, and I think there's a whole bunch of other things you do as well, Sharon. So you're definitely a good contact to have for a small business owner. And otherwise, I think if there are no questions, I just want to thank you so much for your training today. It was absolutely amazing, very informative, really, really helpful. And I'm really grateful we have it in the Business Builder, and I'm going to definitely be sharing it with our entire network because I think everyone needs to hear this.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Tamarin.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, for taking the time to learn and to improve. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week.